This Old House Radio Hour is supported by the Home Depot. Whether you're tackling a kitchen upgrade, organizing your garage, or building out that back deck, it's important to keep your projects on track. Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes it easy to keep things moving in the right direction. If you're just starting out or you're stuck in the middle, the Home Depot has same-day and next-day delivery, so you can get what you need fast. Maybe you need a tool, more materials, some extra paint and supplies, or a battery to power your way through that project. Whatever you're working on, get fast, free delivery from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability. From LAist and APM, American Public Media, it's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Cleaning guru Brandon Plashek shares his best-kept secrets for spotless surfaces and DIY cleaning potions.
One tool that I would say is like a massive game changer, and I recommend pretty much to anyone, is a drill brush scrubber.
Plus, Wait, Don't Tell Me host Peter Sagal thought he had found a perfect post-divorce retreat. Instead, he wound up with the house from hell.
Because every time we had to do something, the repairman would come or the contractor would come and look at what they were fixing and be like, oh my God, who did this?
Cheap Old Houses is back with charming finds and affordable gems waiting in Maine and Iowa. All of this, plus we're answering your home improvement questions at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Coming up right after the news. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Brandon Plashek started posting cleaning videos online under the alias Clean That Up. On his social channels, he shares the best ways to clean, DIY cleaning solutions, and much more. Brandon is a third-generation professional janitor, and as he puts it, cleaning is in his blood. Brandon, welcome to This Old House Radio Hour.
Thanks so much for having me, Jen. It's an honor to be here.
So most people, that I know anyways, view cleaning as a chore, but you seem to really enjoy it. What about cleaning brings you so much joy?
You know, I've been doing it my whole life, and so I really just have always enjoyed the satisfaction of cleaning. So because my family's had a cleaning business for so long, I've been into some very interesting situations that are very dirty. And so taking that space that seems like it just has been forgotten or just kind of thrown away and bringing it back to life and that transformation. And I just love that challenge. And the nice thing about cleaning is that there's always kind of a new approach you can find to clean something, and not everything cleans up exactly the same. So it's always kind of keeps you a little bit guessing and on your toes. So it's a fun job.
So broadly speaking, what are some of the best ways to keep up with maintaining a clean home?
Building a good routine. And I know that like my ADHD brain kind of hears that and like, oh no, a routine, I can't do that. But a lot of times when you're cleaning, if you're able to keep up with it, it just makes the entire job so much easier. So like, let's say for instance, your bathroom, if you can build a routine of like cleaning your toilet on a weekly basis at minimum, every once or twice a week, wiping down the countertops and your sink, maybe once a day after you use it, and just slowly kind of build in those habits. What's nice about that is it doesn't take very long to do those things, and you maintain the clean instead of waiting for something to the point where it's so dirty that you have to just invest a bunch of time for a deep clean. Everyone's spaces are going to be a little bit different in your needs. Some people live alone. Others have 4 dogs, 6 kids, and a whole lot of traffic throughout their house. So there's going to be some different intervals of cleaning there. But if you can keep up on it, it's just going to make it so much easier.
And there are so many products out there to clean up nearly everything. Do you have a good rule of thumb for using cleaning products?
Definitely. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Like a good multi-purpose cleaner is going to be able to help you clean, obviously, most of the areas in your home. There's obviously some specialty cleaners out there that are worth their weight in gold. I always say, like, one I love is Barkeeper's Friend. My grandma taught me how to use that. It's a classic. I'm always going to have that in my cleaning kit. The other thing that you want to keep in mind when just looking at cleaning products is the surfaces and the types of material you have in your house. If you have a lot of like delicate surfaces, like marble, let's say, you're going to want a few different cleaning products to kind of take care of those. And yeah, I try to keep my cleaning kit simple because I won't lie, I've been in the trap of going to the store and buying a new product because I'm curious. I want to test it. It's kind of my job as well. But many times I find myself always going back to the classics. So if you find something you like, usually you can just stick with that.
Okay, what about tools? I'm curious. You mentioned specialty tools.
The one tool that I would say is like a massive game changer, and I recommend pretty much to anyone is a drill brush scrubber. So there's a few different versions of this you can get. You can get one that just attaches to a drill already, or you can get like a specific tool that is like built in kind of scrubbing. It's a whole unit that's like waterproof and things. I have both, of course, but it depends on your needs, but that really can help speed up your cleaning time. And as someone who does this professionally, when I bought one of those, I'm like, I'm just going to give it a try. It was like a cheat code because all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm scrubbing so much faster and more efficient, and my shoulder and my back doesn't hurt, whereas it's been all my life. So definitely check one of those out. The other tool that is kind of like a sneaky one that I say everyone should have is a razor blade scraper. No, it sounds super simple, but it works amazing for getting under like grease and grime in your oven, for instance. Even soap scum on like your shower. If you do use it though, always use it on a wet or lubricated surface, just like with your cleaner. Make sure to use a new blade and go slow. Let the blade do the work. You really don't have to push real hard.
Are there times when you prefer a DIY solution over a commercial product?
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorite cleaners, and those that watch my videos know I love a vinegar mix that I make. It's 1 cup white vinegar, 1 cup water, and about a teaspoon of dish soap. It's an awesome all-purpose cleaner. You can pretty much use it all over your house. It really works good too on like glass shower doors without like the hard water buildup and things. The only thing I will say is vinegar is acidic, so you want to be careful. So again, kind of talking about wood floors or like your natural stone, like granite countertops or even marble, you wouldn't want to use that on there. But that one is super simple to make. I mean, you can get a big jug of vinegar, water from your house, and then a little bit of dish soap, and you can be cleaning for a long time with that mix.
So what are some of the details that you can clean in your home that really makes it feel immaculate?
Yeah, so I would say kind of to level up your clean using like a 3-towel system. And essentially what that is 1 towel to clean with your cleaning mixed it, whether that's your all-purpose cleaner or if you even mix it into a bucket, a 2nd towel to rinse, and then a 3rd dry clean microfiber cloth to dry and buff the surface. And many times in my experience, that's kind of where people stop. So they'll use the cleaner, they'll rinse, and then they're done. But coming through with that dry, clean microfiber cloth, it not only dries it and removes any, possible streaking, but it allows you to buff the surface, especially if it's like high gloss. And then I would say, just a few other areas in the house. Dusting is something that I think sometimes people don't love to do, but if you can keep up on it, it makes it so much easier just to do a quick swipe with like a duster, opposed to when it's really thick, then you got to go in and like wipe it all up. So to really keep your house tip top, I would say just dust a little bit more because everyone's house gets dusty and it's something you kind of are always fighting against.
As a 3rd-generation janitor, is there something you think most people get wrong when they're cleaning?
I would say a lot of people like to sometimes just spray the cleaner down and wipe it up right away. And something that is super important is to give those cleaners time to work. I call it dwell time, but essentially it just means spray it down, let it sit and do its thing, and then, wipe it or scrub it up. Just by giving that cleaner a little bit of extra time just to break down whatever's on that surface there, it just makes your cleaning process so much easier. For instance, let's say you're cleaning your oven and you spray oven cleaner down. If you immediately go to start scrubbing and wiping that up, it's going to be a real long day and a long job. Whereas if you let it sit for a half hour to an hour, read the label. The label's always the law, I always say. So whatever they say, follow that. But usually that just melts the grease and grime, and it's super easy to wipe up and clean up. So that would be one. And then the other one I would say is you don't have to deep clean your house to make it clean. Just a little bit every single day can really go a long way, and that progress will just really start to build up over time. I know for myself, sometimes I get in those modes where I'm like, I got to pull everything apart, and then I try to just tell myself, no, just do a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, and before you know it, your house will look great.
Ooh, what do people most often forget to clean?
There's a few things I would say around your toilet. That is an area that can get a little grimy. And many times people do a really good job cleaning their toilet. And then what will happen is I still have kind of a stinky odor in my bathroom. Cleaning around the toilet is super helpful just because it's a little bit of a splash zone, if you will. That's the best way to say it. And so making sure to just clean that area the best you can.
So we like to end each of the episodes of This Old House Radio Hour with something we call the simple fix. I've watched a lot of your videos. You have a lot of them. Is there one you'd like to share?
I know this is hard for me to pick just one. Using a pillowcase to clean your fan blades. That's the one actually my grandma taught me. Obviously don't use a pillowcase that you're actively sleeping on.
This is a cleaning pillowcase now.
Exactly. I know everyone's like, what pillowcase are you using? I'm like, I have one in my cleaning supplies.
Yes.
That is the one for this.
It's like the toothbrush in your cleaning supplies. You got to make sure the kids know that is not a real toothbrush.
Exactly. And so pillowcase, just wrap it around the pillowcase. You can pull back slowly, keeping the pillowcase kind of tight against the fan blade. It's going to pull all the dust in there, and that way you don't get it all over the room. It doesn't make a mess, and then just bring it outside and give it a good shake.
God, it's so brilliant. Well, we thank you so much. This was so informative, and we really enjoyed having you.
Thanks so much for having me. This was awesome. I really appreciate it.
That was Brandon Pleshak. For more information about cleaning, go to letscleanthatUp.com. You're listening to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Right now, we're tackling your DIY and home improvement questions. Call us now at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460, and we'll match you with the right expert. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Kathy Leverkus from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, Kathy. What's your question today?
So the floor tile is pitted in our 1938 California Spanish tile bathroom. We want to keep the tile if we can. What do you suggest?
Okay, to help answer this question, we have Zach Detmore, contractor for This Old House, here on the line.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi.
So, I want a little fact-finding mission on this this bathroom. Is this sort of like a highly decorated bathroom with different colors of tiles and borders, or is it more? You said Spanish. Is it more of like an adobe red tile on the floor that's more maybe a natural look?
You know, this is actually one of those bathrooms that can be pink and black, but ours happens to be a light green and yellow, and it has tiles every so often that have a little floral pattern in it.
Okay, cool.
Kathy, what size are the tiles?
I actually have a measuring tape right here. Let me see. They're 4 inches by 4 inches. Yes.
When you say pitting, is it the glazing sort of, there's little imperfections in it where things are building up?
Actually, what's going on is it's wearing down and it looks black instead of green. The green is coming off the tile, or yellow.
Oh, so the finish on the tile itself is worn down with time.
Yeah, well, we're in California. I think it's the sand from going to the beach.
Oh, man, I should have your problems.
I was going to say, these are
You're
good
just going to the
problems.
beach so much that you're wearing your tile out. Oh, my gosh. I think you don't have any problems. Interesting. Is there sort of pathways through the bathroom that are wearing out prematurely in relation to other areas?
Yeah, right in front of the shower where we shower after going to the beach.
All right. Unfortunately for the floor, I think you're going to have to either replace all of the floor tiles or live with it. But I think anything between option A and option B is going to leave you with a worse finish than just leaving it and living with it.
So I guess we could just take it out and put in wood like we have in the rest of the house. But does that make sense in a bathroom?
No, I would say it doesn't. If there's so much sand, it's wearing out the tile. It'll definitely wear out any finish that you put on the wood. I think definitely a tile is the right choice. This tile has been working hard for you for 100 years. So a new tile would definitely stand up to the sand and abuse.
Thank you so much for this information.
No problem. Good luck with it. I hope it's better than expected, but if it's not that great, at least you're at the beach every day.
Kathy, thanks so much for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
After the break, our experts answer more of your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Coming up on This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. Stay tuned. This Old House Radio Hour is supported by the Home Depot. Whether you're tackling a kitchen upgrade, organizing your garage, or building out that back deck, it's important to keep your projects on track. Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes it easy to keep things moving in the right direction. If you're just starting out or you're stuck in the middle, the Home Depot has same-day and next-day delivery, so you can get what you need fast. Maybe you need a tool, more materials, some extra paint and supplies, or a battery to power your way through that project. Whatever you're working on, get fast, free delivery from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Before we get back to your calls, we're going to open up the phone lines and play House Rules. This is a game where we test your knowledge and common DIY and home improvement procedures. No lifelines, no second chances. Just you, your instincts, and a shot at glory. Hello, you're on House Rules.
Hi, this is Drew Fetch from Austin, Texas.
Hi, Drew. So tell me, how handy are you around the house, Drew?
I'm going to say medium.
Medium. Okay, so a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, you think?
Sure, we'll say that.
You want to give yourself a 6?
I'm just worried that my homeowner's insurance company is going to listen.
No, we'll put this on private. Nobody's going to hear this ever. All right, Drew, so here's how it works. I'm going to ask you 2 multiple choice home improvement questions. If you miss the first one, the game is over. If you get it right, you get to move on to question 2. If you do answer both correctly, you will win the ultimate prize, which is a custom voicemail recording from the one and only Richard Trethewey. Does that sound good?
It sounds great.
All right, Drew, let's play House Rules. Here's your first question. Which one of these is an actual type of nail? Is it A, a cut nail, B, a whale nail, or C, a ghost nail? All right, Drew, what's your answer?
I'm just going to have to take a guess on this one, and we'll go with a cut nail.
Okay, you chose A, a cut nail. To get the right answer, we asked Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, and here was his answer.
The correct answer was actually A cut nail. If you've ever worked in a very, very old house, you've definitely seen some cut nails. And what makes them different from wire nails is they're sort of triangular shaped, meaning the tip is smaller, but it gets much wider towards the head. They're great for going into masonry applications or wood.
So, Drew, that means you're right. I'm starting to think you're a 6 out of 10.
I totally knew the answer.
Of course you did. I believe you. And that means you're moving on to question 2. So here's your final question. Which insect eats at your lawn roots? Is it A, grubs, B, cinch bugs, or C, beetles?
I'm going to go with grubs.
You chose A, grubs. To get the right answer, we asked Lee Gilliam, a landscape contractor for the show.
The correct answer is grubs. Grubs are destructive to our lawns because they love to eat the roots of our grass. That the white little root, when you pull the grass back and you see the white little roots, that's what grubs like to eat.
Drew, that means you got both right. Congratulations. You are this week's House Rules champion. How do you feel?
That's fantastic. And if my homeowner's insurance company is listening, see, I do know how to take care of this place.
See, I mean, he's a solid 7 out of 10 now. Richard Trethewey is standing by, ready to record your brand new custom voicemail. You just let him know what you wanted to say, and it's all yours. Thank you so much for playing House Rules.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Want to be on House Rules? It's easy. Call our hotline at 877-864-7460 and leave us a message saying, I want to be on House Rules, along with your name, where you're from, your phone number, and a good time to call you back. Or send us an email at questions@thisoldhouse.com with the same info. We'd love to have you on the show. You're listening to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Right now we're tackling your DIY and home improvement questions. Call us now at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. And we'll match you with the right expert. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour with Richard Trethewey, plumber for This Old House.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Tamaro from Brooklyn, New York.
So, Joseph, what's going on in your home?
Well, I've lived in my home for about 30 years. When there's a torrential downpour of rain, what'll happen is the city sewer gets overcharged with rainwater. So the rainwater that's on my property cannot exit through the P-trap and the check valves. The check valves will close, and because of them closing, the water will pile up in the pipe and back up in the lowest portion of the basement.
absolutely. It's a disaster. So this is an issue with the very older plumbing systems that they combine what they call storm, rainwater, and sewer, which is the water from the bathrooms, into one system. And so we've done this story on the show a bunch of times. So most cities are working hard to try and break the storm system away from the sewer. And because the same condition you described, where a back water valve, a check valve, or also called a back water valve, will close. And now, if the rain still comes, because a lot of these brownstones, they had the rain downspout actually run down inside the building. So, all the rain on a flat roof was collected and came down through. And so we've seen some absolute disasters. So the only real way to do it is to break to change potentially the way the water sheds off the roof and have it go off through gutters and downspouts and have it shed. But then you've got issues with what to do with it in relation to your neighbor. So in urban areas like you, it is incredibly difficult to deal with it. And I don't have an easy fix. It's the reason that the modern plumbing codes always separate storm and sewer for this reason exactly.
The other option I had was in the pit where the P-trap and the check valve is, make a pit and then have a sump pump. If the water ever decides to back up, the pit will take water, the pump will kick in, and I would only need it for a few minutes.
Correct. I like what you're thinking. The only thing that would get you if you lost your power, but I like what you're thinking, to sort of put a sort of intermediate sort of holding pit.
A bladder, if you will.
Yeah. We did a thing in San Francisco where there was a similar brownstone that I'm sure you might have. And the city of San Francisco, their sewage treatment plant was getting completely killed because every storm and sewer is connected. And so their sewage treatment plant couldn't process this water. And so they make it be that, and then some people were sending it out to the backside of the San Francisco Bay. And so they made a huge push to get the storm separated, just like you are. Make sure you can get the storm water to be able to pump or go by gravity to what they call daylight, not into the sewer system. So you're on the right track there to separate storm and sewer, and then have a way to make it disappear from the building to daylight. So you're not alone.
Coming from you, that means a lot, sir.
All right.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Call us now to have your home improvement or DIY question answered. 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour with Mauro Henrique and Zach Detmore.
Hi, this is Dennis Mowbray from San Anselmo, California.
Hey, Dennis, Zach Detmore here. How's it going?
Good, Zach. How are you?
Very good.
Dennis, this is Mauro. How are you?
Good, Mauro. Great to talk to you.
So what's the story with your old house?
So my old house is 100 years old, and when I bought it 40 years ago, the fireplace had been painted. And now, these many years later, there's some efflorescence at the mortar that's causing the paint to fail. And there's one spot down low where the paint is actually chipped off and a nice sheet. And underneath it, I can see a beautiful tan spotted brick that matches the hearth. And I thought, what if I took all the paint off and restored the whole thing?
My first question, and I'll send it to Mauro after this, but how many years do you have to work on this project?
What, are you going to hand him a toothbrush?
To be honest with you, I'm retired and I've got about half a dozen projects ahead of it. So we're not in a hurry.
I'm hearing he's got plenty of time. What do you think, Mauro?
Well, if he has the most important thing at this whole process, time, all right? Anything is doable, all right? It might take a little longer, but question for you. Do you know the type of paint that you have on your fireplace?
No, no idea. I mean, I've chipped a piece off, but I haven't taken it to get tested or anything. And should I do that?
I think you should do a test.
What happens if he tests and it's positive for lead? What do you do in that situation?
If you are a homeowner, you do it yourself, you could do it because you're in the house, you do your own thing. For me, if I would do a de-leading on any project, it goes by the square for interior surface. If I go over 6 square feet, the whole room needs to be protected. The whole thing, windows, ceilings, floors, air vents, outlets, everything. And it takes a long time.
Where do you go to get it tested? Can you send it in somewhere?
You can hire someone to come and test it, or you can do it yourself. So
Mauro is actually so skilled at this that he can just taste it and he can tell if there's lead in the paint. He's been doing it that long.
The disclaimers we have to say now are a lot.
But the home centers and the paint store, they carry a little kit. It's actually very easy to use, so you can use that and test. It's like a little tube. You break part A, part B, shake really well, and then there's this cotton tip that you squeeze it. Once it turns once it gets brown or whatever color, depends on the manufacturer, you can rub it against the surface. If it turns red, that you have tested positive for lead paint.
I thought you were going to say
If
COVID.
it doesn't, yeah. it might have a COVID right in there too.
Well, I got the wrong test.
Yeah, you can test it yourself, but it's very, very easy to do it. Or you can hire a professional that goes there and they will get you a much more accurate test done.
What do you think, Mauro? What are the pros and cons of sort of blasting the paint away if it's not lead, or versus removing it and scraping? And probably depends on the texture of the brick to some degree, right?
Absolutely. That's the number one that you can check and see if some bricks are very porous, some brick is more tight and the paint stays more on the surface. But when you talk about bricks, definitely there's some texture on it. And the paint that goes right in between the cracks there into that, it becomes like a very almost impossible to take it off, to remove it. But if you do it yourself, it's going to take a little time. And then you can hire a professional that come and they sandblast, but then move out. It's a lot of dust, you know.
Does the sandblasting take it off the mortar in between too?
It would take it would take a lot of it. It would take a lot of it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things you want a skilled professional, because you could easily just blow it out of the joint. Yeah. You need someone who it's not their first time. Hopefully they practiced on someone else's chimney before they got to yours. I think it's a big project, Dennis. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a big project, but maybe I would tackle those other 6 things on your list, then call us back and see if you want to tackle this one.
All right. Well, I appreciate the help, and I will approach this very cautiously.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck, Dennis.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Call us now at 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour with Heath Eastman, electrician for This Old House, and Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show.
Hi, how you doing? My name's Charlie Pirelli. I live in New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Hey, Charles, Zach Detmore here.
Hi.
And Charles, is Heath. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Oh, I love New Hope, Pennsylvania. I was just up there the other weekend. It's gorgeous.
You're familiar with it?
I am. There's some beautiful houses up there.
It's a very nice place. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those gigantic houses. I have a house built in the 50s, kind of a ranch-type cottage.
Well, we won't hold that against you. Tell us, what's going on?
A few months ago, I noticed that the motion sensor spotlight at the peak right above the kitchen door had pulled away from the top of the ridge. So I went up and I took a look, and the metal box that it was attached to, had indeed pulled out from the rake board. And there was a kind of large holes where the screws were, and it looks like this had been done before, so there's a couple of other holes up there. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to do here to get another spotlight up here? How do I repair this without replacing the entire rake board? So I've been mulling that around, and I'm still not quite sure I know what to do without replacing the entire rake board.
Oh, I got this one. This one's easy.
All right.
Zach, just bigger screws, right?
That's it.
Just bigger screws.
Bigger screws?
No.
Bigger screws.
That's all.
A couple new holes.
Charles, just for the record, I was just kidding about the long screws. No long screws.
Right.
Well, let me say it back to you, even though I think we could end the call right here with that. But so you've got the gable end of the house. At the highest point, there's a light fixture, and it has basically the box that the light fixture is connected to is pulled off that board, correct?
Yes.
And how long were the screws that were holding that fixture on?
This fixture has been replaced a number of times over the years. So there's multiple holes there from different size fixtures. There's also a crack in the rake board at the top. And I'm thinking, can I fill this in with something to reinforce it? Are there lights out there available made with like a plate that just pop into that type of peak? I don't know. I couldn't find anything like that.
Yeah.
I do know that the new LED lights, though, are much lighter and smaller.
Well, you'd be surprised. They can still be fairly heavy, but I got to be honest, I'm not sure you're going to like my answer for this, and I think it's more in Zach's wheelhouse. But I think it sounds like it's time to make some repairs.
Make some repairs as in replacing the entire rake board or just cutting the top of it out?
What do you think, Zach? I mean, you could piece it in.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you have. If you have a forgiving material like a cedar, is it painted or is it raw wood?
It's painted pine.
All right, so it's possible that you could just cut out the affected area and then put it back in. It's obviously difficult because it's so high up, but I think you should take the opportunity to, solve all the problems while you're already in the vicinity. What do you think, Heath?
I think Zach's right. You've got to really, if you don't want to replace the whole thing, that's fine. But I think you got to cut and piece in those rotted pieces and get you something solid to mount back to.
Right. Yeah.
If you're looking for an alternative, maybe you could hire someone who does custom carbon fiber work to make you a super light LED fixture. We're talking ounces that mounts up there. Make it super aerodynamic. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you find their name, please pass it along. I've got a few places I could use that.
If I do replace the rake board, which it looks like it's probably the best thing to do at this point, I'll probably do it with PVC. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, if it's getting wet, PVC is certainly going to last longer. PVC does expand more, so you're going to have a long piece. So you do want to use an extremely good glue when you're putting the miter together at the top. But aside from that, it's definitely a durable product, and it's definitely a product that you won't be scrambling up there in 5 years to replace.
Right, and drilling holes in it, things that screws should hold.
Absolutely.
You should be good.
I think you got this, Charles. Get up there, get some scaffolding. You're ready to go. A couple cups of coffee. You got this.
Yeah, well, it's a bigger job than I thought it might be, but it seems like that's probably the best way to do it.
Good luck. I'll tell you, every job I step on, I walk off later and I say, that was a bigger job than I thought it would be every single time.
Everyone.
Everyone. All right. Good luck, Charles.
All right. Thanks again.
Take care.
After the break, Wait, Don't Tell Me host Peter Sagal bought his ideal post-divorce retreat, only to end up with a nightmare house. That's coming up on This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Coming up, Ethan and Elizabeth Finkelstein spotlight more cheap old houses for us to fawn over. But first we head to Oak Park, Illinois, where Peter Sagal, host of NPR's Wait, Don't Tell Me, joins us to share his homeowner horror story. Sagal thought he was buying a quickie post-divorce retreat. Instead, he got a masterclass in regret.
I'm Peter Sagal, the host of NPR's Wait, Don't Tell Me, and this is my old house. This all takes place in Oak Park, Illinois. Most people who know anything about architecture, American architecture, know about Oak Park because it was for 20, 25 years the home of Frank Lloyd Wright at the beginning of his career. And he built a lot of his first houses in Oak Park, and the houses that he built date from the same period, late 19th, early 20th century. So there are beautiful homes throughout the village that are beautifully kept up vintage homes. And for a good decade, I lived in one of them with my then wife and family. Beautiful old Victorian that dated, I think, from 1890. When my marriage suddenly ended, this was not my plan, but nonetheless, that's what fate had in store. So I moved into, quite rapidly, a new construction, a townhouse, which despite all of my efforts, everything about it screamed divorced dad home. TV, couch-facing TV. As I was there, and this probably had something to do with the emotional weight of what had happened, I imagined, as soon as my divorce was over and everything was resolved and the chaos ended, I would get myself a beautiful vintage home in Oak Park again. And that's what I did. It was a smaller house. I'd be living there by myself now, but it was an old house, this time dating from 1922. It was a classic Chicago bungalow, which is a style here. It just seemed quirky and fun and old, and it had all these neat touches that I kind of loved. Someone had put in a skylight. I kind of fell in love with it, even though I was warned off it by some people, including at least one building inspector. My joke about it was the classic thing about divorced guys is they date strippers, and they're like, everybody's like, what are you doing? He's like, no, she's not like that. She's just doing it to get herself through school. I did that, but with a house. So I bought the house, probably much to the thrill of the people selling it, and moved in and spent 6 years in that damned place, not only having to fix everything. For example, literally, I moved in the spring. The first time I turned on the furnace in the fall, it broke. It was dead. And that was just the first of many things that went wrong. It was not a successful experiment. And one of the things I discovered is that in addition to the history, the charm, even in addition to like the old style construction, which sometimes isn't as good as what we have today, and you just know that in a vintage home, you're also buying every prior owner's taste, budget, and judgment. I was late and last in a long line of fools and idiots who would own that house, because every time we had to do something, and we had to do something a lot, the repairman would come or the contractor would come and look at what they were fixing and be like, oh my God, who did this? Some prior owner had lofted the living room. So these are small houses, but the living room, they had removed the ceiling and made, from what had been an upstairs room, they had made a kind of balcony overlooking the living room. When I first saw it, I was like, well, this is great, because old houses tend to have small rooms, they feel cramped, but somebody had fixed that here. But what I didn't realize was that, yes, you got a slightly higher ceiling in your living room, but you also had destroyed what would have been a nice bedroom above you, and in return gotten yourself a small balcony overlooking your living room, which is useless. The only thing you could possibly do with it is do dramatic entrances to your guests, have them mill about wondering where you are until you appear at the railing and go, oh, I see you've been discussing me. And then you come downstairs because there's nothing to do in that stupid little balcony overlooking the living room. There's no privacy, there's no walls. It was dumb. There was a jacuzzi in the basement with a shower, and I was like, oh, this will be great. And that was terrible. It turns out that there's a bit of conventional wisdom in the real estate business that you don't want a jacuzzi because you use them once and then you realize you have a jacuzzi. And I remember plugging in the jacuzzi and it shorted out. So I had to have that repaired. Every system in the house, from the heating to cooling to the electrics to the drainage, was completely messed up and had to be redone. The one thing that the inspector warned me about, which was that the front porch was falling off the house, and I had a second inspector come and say, well, I don't think it's going to fall anymore. That turned out to be okay. Everything else broke. The appliances died. The furnace died. The sewer line had to be completely redone because of the flooding. The toilet in both bathrooms had to be reseated. Tiling had to be redone. One day, the stove blew up. Some of these problems were not endemic to it being an older house. They were just endemic to the people who would own the house before me being cheap or foolish and me being blind. I forgot to tell you about the stairway. There was a basement which was partially furnished, and the stairway had been installed wrong, so that it was about 5 degrees more steep than it should have been. This one was tilted, so it was a little steeper. And when I first toured the house, I'm like, well, who cares? Everybody cares. I had an elderly mother visit me, and it would terrify her going down these weird stairs. It turns out, again, when I finally had it repaired and replaced at the cost of I don't know how many thousands of dollars, the guy said to me, he says, when they installed this stairway, it didn't reach all the way down to the floor. There was a 4 or 5 inch gap. What I eventually had them do is build up the floor a little with a kind of box that raised the floor level, creating another step as you move into the next room. But the thing that finally got me was when I had that work done, and I had the stairway replaced, there was rains, and I walked down and it was dark, and I got to the bottom step of that repaired staircase and stepped right into 4 inches of water. And I stepped off of that into the laundry room into 8 inches of water. And it turns up the entire drainage system had backed up. And that was bad. And I was like, okay, I need to get someone. So I got an emergency plumber to come, and they ended up having to, Roto-Rooter is the trademark, but whatever they did, they cored out the horrifically blocked main drainage to the street. And I said to the guy, so this is just rainwater, right? It's not the same system that leads to the septic tank. And he said, oh no, it's not just rainwater. It's also your drainage water. And that's the moment I remember when I realized I had spent however many hours up to my shins in toilet water cleaning out my basement, that I was like, I am leaving as soon as possible. This was a terrible mistake. I had this completely unrealistic vision of what my life would be like going forward. It would be, to the best extent possible, what my life would have been had the divorce not happened. I'd be living in a vintage home in Oak Park, Illinois that was a quirky little showplace, and my children would love it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And none of that came to pass. It was just self-delusion from top to bottom. And yeah, so guys, everybody, do not purchase or decide to purchase a home in emotional duress. Don't do it. Make sure that your friends love you enough to tell you the truth if you're going to be involved in a situation like that, and listen to them. Your house is not going to determine your life. That's the mistake I made. My life was in disarray, and I thought, to be metaphorical about it, if I got the correct container for the life I wanted to live again, then that life would occur. And that's not at all what happens. You bring the life to the house. The house is not going to bring the life to you. Get your life in order, and then find the appropriate container for it.
That was Peter Sagal. You can listen to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me weekends on NPR. You're listening to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Right now we're joined by Ethan and Elizabeth Finkelstein, publishers of Cheap Old Houses, the popular social media account that draws millions of fans, eager to discover homes across America listed for as little as $10. Together we'll explore whether these hidden gems become a labor of love or a money pit. Ethan and Elizabeth, thanks for joining us on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, Jen. We're thrilled to be here today.
Can't wait to talk about some of these fun properties, Jen.
Also joining us to understand the scope of a possible renovation is This Old House general contractor, Zach Detmore.
Hey, Jen.
Our first listing today is situated in the heart of historic downtown Thompson, Indiana. This commercial building once thrived as a bustling bank, steeped in history and charm, with an apartment upstairs and a bank vault downstairs. This commercial building that was built in 1900, located at 160 South Jackson Street in Thompson, Iowa, can be yours for $69,000. And Elizabeth, as you walk inside this building, what do you see?
You walk inside this building and you're essentially in It's a Wonderful Life. There is a safe, there is a bank counter, there is a gorgeous tin ceiling, and the original wood paneling on the wall, the wood floors, doors that are wood and likely original. And the listing includes a handful of amazing historical photos, which just completely throw you back to another time. So this is a very, very cool one. And when we threw this out to our audience, they gave some options for maybe what to do with it. Someone said perhaps a bakery called Dough or a music venue called Safe and Sound. So I think if anybody out there wants to steal those ideas, please do. I would come visit in a heartbeat.
It really has the ability to have a commercial space and a residential above.
Absolutely. We have a restaurant in our town that was a converted bank, and the vault is the most requested table. They have it all, you can walk right in, the door is on display, and it just feels like stepping back in time.
It's funny because it's what you don't necessarily want people to go into, and yet these old Victorian vaults were so heavily decorated. This has beautiful paintings on the front of it and this gorgeous surround. That has this kind of broken pediment on top. So it's really, you're drawing attention to it for sure. And it's really beautiful. The painting on the cover and the front of it looks like an oil painting.
Zach, what do you think it's going to take to get this building ready for use?
Luckily, we come back to layout. The layout seems really good because typically buildings like this were relatively open floor plan, which really lends itself to easy renovations. It seems to be in really nice shape from what I can tell. So I would say the first thing to look at is basically the roof, make sure there's no leaks because just once again, it's like a flat roof. So those can be ignored occasionally. But I think it's a relatively easy outfit to do sort of a commercial space and residential above it. And the exterior is just beautiful and durable and really needs nothing. So I think you're mostly just talking about getting the HVAC equipment dialed in and getting your plumbing and electrical systems upgraded to modern code. But certainly the floors are salvageable. It looks like paneling and molding is salvageable. So thing I really detest about this house is the paint color they selected on the first floor. It's a little too orange for me. It's like pumpkin orange.
It's not your style.
But that's an easy fix.
Okay, next up. A first for the show. This is a 1 acre lot that has a 1 bed, 1 bath, 360 square foot retired train caboose. Yes, that kind of caboose. Although it is cozy and quaint, this train caboose has a full kitchen, dining area, heating, septic, electricity, and even high-speed fiber internet. This piece of railway memorabilia is fully furnished and is located at 136 Calvin Gray Road, Madrid Township in Maine, with an asking price of $129,000. Elizabeth, can you describe this caboose to our listeners?
This is such a fun property. It sits way back on a 1 acre lot. And you've got some railroad signs sort of beckoning you further back into the property. And you see this really colorful sort of pop of nostalgia in the back of the property, which is this caboose that says Maine Central very clearly on it. By the way, Maine Central was the longest railroad route in New England for a while. So this is an authentic rail car.
And Ethan, have you ever seen a caboose for sale?
So after researching this property and the caboose, I really went down a rabbit hole. You can find hundreds of rail cars that are actually for sale. This is a caboose that's for sale here on this property in Maine, and it's a Maine car. But you can find your boxcar children's dream. You can find a passenger car. If you want a locomotive, you can pick up a locomotive. There's diesel engines. There's trolley cars that are like more for an urban environment.
My 5-year-old would like to buy them all.
Yeah, exactly. I used to be into trains. We like set them up as a kid. And this is really scary as an adult that you can get into this and start collecting train cars in human scale. And then to move these trains, if you were to pick up a train, you might be paying somewhere to start for $15,000. So just take that into your cost if you're going to do this and not buy this main property.
Well, the cool thing is that this one is already on a site that's an acre lot that looks very open and expansive and very beautiful. And you go inside and it has everything you need. It has 5 beds. Some of them are hanging. Some of them are on the ground. There's a bathroom. There is a kitchen. So this is very much in the vein of living in a tiny house. It's not a full-time residence, but it's something that would be really fun to go to as a destination because it's got everything you need right inside. It has a working stove. It has cabinets and a fridge and everything.
And some heat for those cold Maine winters. And something that we also see people do is they make Airbnbs out of these, or they make like mini hotels if they have multiple train cars on one property. So that's just something that you can potentially think about.
That's where
I want to do that. Many of them.
This is a short-term rental waiting to happen. Zach, are you moving in?
It depends. It depends. If I want to be in a train, then I'm moving in. If I want to be in a house, then maybe perhaps not. I think.
What's it missing for you?
I think what it's missing is like general living space. So anything that is good at punching a hole through the air and going quickly is typically not particularly wide. So I think that's the issue with most RVs, and that's why you see that they have slide outs and stuff like that. But I don't think anyone's purchasing this who doesn't have an affinity for trains. And if you are using this as sort of a vacation property, whether it be a rental or for yourself, the nice thing is the build quality of a train is superior to the build quality of a house. So I imagine it would be unlikely that you'll find yourself up here, replacing floorboards or roofing shingles. So that's all I have to say. I mean, in terms of functional house, not particularly functional, but in terms of really cool train and durability, it's a cool property. One thing I think that's worth noting is that there's a shed on the property, but the shed is actually the back of a box truck that they built a roof on. So they're really keeping this modification to moving vehicles theme going, even with the shed.
I was going to say 2 for the price of 1. Look at that.
Right?
Well, thanks, guys. This was a fun one.
Hoping these properties land in some good hands. They were really fun to talk about.
Thanks, Jen. Great to see you, Zach.
Take care, Ethan and Elizabeth.
That was Ethan and Elizabeth Finkelstein. You can follow Cheap Old Houses on Instagram or subscribe to their newsletter by going to cheapoldhouses.com. We're nearly at the end of the show, which means it's time for the Simple Fix.
Hi, I'm Lee Gilliam. I'm a landscaper for the show. And this is my Simple Fix. Need to spread seeds and you don't have a broadcast spreader? This is my Simple Fix. Find a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, add the seed to that, do the edging of the lawn area first, and then after that, do the middle of the lawn, cast it around just like you're feeding chickens. Just so you know, a seed is safe for your hands, but if you're going to use fertilizer, I would suggest to put a pair of gloves on.
We'll see you next week on This Old House Radio Hour. Our show is distributed by and co-produced by LAist Studios and APM, American Public Media. This Old House Radio Hour was created and produced by Ember 20. Listen to new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday on your app of choice. You can follow This Old House on all the socials at This Old House, all one word. We'll see you next week.